Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Charan. In this video I will show you how to bind data into a select option, which is a drop-down list control, using ASP.NET Core. And here we got the final output. Notice the header tags ASP.NET Core 3.0 tutorials and binding data into drop-down list. And below you got a drop-down list, which is a select option, and I expand. See, here we got the employee name is binded into this select option element. If you are a first time visitor to my channel, please subscribe to get the latest updates. Before writing the coding part in ASP.NET Core, first we'll check the table and the column name I want to bind into a select option element. The table name is the employee, which contains 4 columns, and I want to bind the EMP name column into a select option, which is a drop-down list control. And this employee table I have created in this new DB database, which is this one. So let's open Visual Studio. For this video tutorial, I'm creating a new ASP.NET Core application. Go to File, New Project, and I'm selecting the project ASP.NET Core Web Application, the template. Click Next. The application name is DisplayData Dropdown List. Create. And the version of ASP.NET Core 3.0 I'm using. After that, I'm selecting web application. Create. And the project is created successfully. Let's close this default window. First, in this project, I'm adding my connection string. Open Solution Explorer. And notice in the project there is a app settings.json file. Let's open this JSON file. Now inside this curly braces, I am adding my connection string name, connection string, C capital, connection strings, colon. Now between these curly braces, I am adding my connection string name, which is my connection, colon, now between these double quotes, I am adding. To get the data source of the database, open Server Explorer. Notice in the Server Explorer that is a data connections. Right click the mouse, add connection. I'm adding my SQL Server name. After adding SQL Server name, now I'm selecting the database name. The table I have created in this new DB database, so I am selecting the database new DB. Then test connection is succeeded. OK. And here we got our database new db.dbo is added under data connections. Now we require this new DB data source. Right click the mouse, go to properties. Now in the properties there is a connection string which contains the data source. Copy the data source and paste between these double quotes. And let's add the comma because it's a JSON file. Now the next step, let's add a class. Now whatever the classes I'm creating, I want to put in a special folder. So I'm adding a new folder. And the folder name I'm giving the model. Right click the project name, add new folder. The folder name is model. Right click the mouse, add class. And this class name is a connection string class. Add And here we got our ConnectionString class. Now in this ConnectionString class, I am inheriting the DB_context class. Semicolon DB_context. So this DB_context class belongs to Microsoft.EntityFramework package. So let's import the namespace using Microsoft dot, and notice in this list we don't have any entity framework. If you open Solution Explorer, I'm expanding the dependencies folder. Notice there is no any packages folder. So let's add the packages entity framework code to this project. Right click the mouse, manage NetJet packages, select that one, go to browse and browse for Microsoft Entity Framework Core, and this is the package I want to install. So before installing, what I'm doing, I'm deleting this line as well as this also, otherwise we'll get an error. Again, switch back to the NetJet packages, install the Entity Framework Core package version 3.0, install, click OK and I accept. And the package is installed successfully. Let's open Solution Explorer. Notice in the dependencies folder, now we got the packages folder is added. Let's expand the packages folder. Microsoft.EntityFramework is added. Let's add the other required packages for this project. Microsoft Entity Framework .SQL Server. This is the package I want to install. Install. Click OK and I accept, and the package is installed successfully. And the next two more packages we require. The next one is a design, and this one I'm installing. Install, click OK, I accept, and the package is installed successfully. Now the last one, we require the Entity Framework Code.Tools package, this one, install, okay, I accept. And the tools package is also installed successfully. Now let's open Solution Explorer. Notice in the packages folder, now we got all the 4 packages are added successfully. Now switch to the ConnectionString.class. Now let's inherit DB_context class. This DB_context class belongs to using Microsoft.EntityFramework. Now DB_context. Let's create a constructor for this class. CTOR constructor, double tap. Now in this constructor I am adding DB_context options. In the options I am adding the ConnectionString class, the class name, options, colon, base options. And now we need to add our ConnectionString name and the ConnectionString class, these both, into this startup.cs file. Let's open startup.cs file. Let me close this error list as well as output message box. In this page, notice there is a configure services. In this configure services, I'm adding our services dot add db context. Now in this db context, I'm adding our ConnectionString class, and this ConnectionString class is in the models folder. So let's add the namespace using the project name DisplayData DDL is a project name dot model folder, and after that I'm adding using Microsoft dot entity framework code. Now here let's add this ConnectionString class name. Copy that one and paste here. Options dot use SQL server. The use SQL server method takes the string as a connection string. So configuration dot connection string get connection string method. The get connection string method takes a parameter string. So let's add our ConnectionString name, which is in the app settings.json. I'm adding my ConnectionString name, which is my connection. Copy that one and paste between double quotes. Let's add the semicolon. That's it. Up to now we have just finished the ConnectionString part. And now open Solution Explorer. Let's add a new class to create the properties. Right click the model folder, add class, and the class name I'm adding EMP class. And here we got our EMP class. Now in this EMP class I'm just defining the public properties, which are the column names of the table. So prop double tab int the column name from the table. The first one is the EMP ID. So let's copy that one. We have to add the same column names whatever we have defined in the table, and the most important, the ID column must be primary key. So let's add the key, and this key attribute is belongs to using system.componentModel.data annotations package. Then the next property prop, which is a string property, and the property name, the column name is EMP name, which I want to display into a drop-down list control. So let's add that one also, EMP name. After that, switch to the ConnectionString class. After the constructor, I'm adding another property, and this property type is a DB set. In this DB set, the T entity, the type is I'm adding the class name EMP class, and here the property name is our table name. So let's add the table name employee. Copy that one and paste here. That's it. And now let's open Solution Explorer, and notice in the project there is a pages folder. Inside this pages folder there is a index.cshtml file. Open that one, and this index.cshtml I'm modifying some data. The title I'm changing to, instead of homepage, binding data to drop-down list is the page name of this index.cshtml file. Then I don't require this p tag, so I'm deleting that one. And the header tag I'm changing to ASP.NET Core 3.0 the version, and tutorials, and h2 binding data into dropdown list select option. Then after the headings I'm adding horizontal line. Now after the horizontal line I'm adding a simple HTML select option element. Open toolbox. Notice in the toolbox there is a HTML folder. Expand that one. In the HTML folder there is a select element. Let's add that one. After adding the select option element, now right click the mouse, go to page model. Now in this page model, notice there is a default code is added. One is a method OnGet method, and this OnGet method is used to display the records on the browser. And we have a constructor of this class and one public read-only property. So here what I'm doing, in the private read-only I'm adding my ConnectionString class, and this ConnectionString class is in the models folder. So let's import the namespace using my project name, which is a DisplayData model folder. After that I'm adding using Microsoft.Entity Framework code. After adding these two namespaces, now in the private read-only I'm adding ConnectionString class. I'm adding the object db, and let's copy this one. I'm adding in the constructor also. In the -d I'm adding db. This one underscore. So underscore db is equals to db. Then I'm adding another prop. The property is Ienumerable. In this Ienumerable, the out type you are getting from the EMP class. I'm adding the EMP class, and the property DisplayData is a property name. Now C capital. Now in the public void OnGet method, I'm DisplayData. This property name is equals to await underscore db dot. My table name is the employee dot toList async method. And if you notice, we got a small error because this is void method. So delete that void, add async task. That's it, we have written the code. Now let's bind the data into select option. I'm adding the tag helper ASP F1 items between these double quotes at new list item, new select list. In the select list I'm adding model dot display data between double quotes the column ID, which is the EMP ID. Let's copy this one and paste here between double quotes, comma, again between double quotes the string data text field. I am adding the EMP name, the column name, paste here. Now in the select option, this option is a default label for the drop down list control. Select employee name is the label name of the drop down list control, and I want to make disable this label. So value is equals to empty, selected, disabled. That's it. We have done the complete coding part. To bind the column from SQL Server database into select option element using ASP.NET Core. Let's check the output. Browse with, and I'm selecting the browser default one, Google Chrome, set as default browse. And here we got the final output. Notice the header tags, ASP.NET Core 3.0 tutorials and binding data into dropdown list. And below we got a dropdown list which is a select option, and I expand. See, here we got the employee name is binded into this select option element. That's it. We have implemented ASP.NET Core to bind data into this dropdown list element.